Welcome to the deep dive. So if you're gearing up for the IELTS listening test, you know it's intense. It's not just understanding English, is it?
No, not at all.
It's about speed and focus and knowing the procedure. It really feels like this high-stakes race,
Yeah.
where the rules are kind of subtle, but they don't let you off easy.
That's a really good way to put it. Yeah. What we found looking through all these test prep sources is that a lot of candidates don't fail because their English isn't good enough.
Right.
It's because they make these really simple, avoidable mistakes, errors in just how the test works. They sort of trip over the mechanics.
Exactly. So our mission today is to, cut through that confusion. We've pulled together expert advice highlighting 6 very specific pitfalls. These are the things that consistently cost students points in the listening part. And we're going to give you the solutions right alongside the problems. The idea is if you can just eliminate these 6 mistakes, your score will improve. It's almost guaranteed.
Think of it like a shortcut, maybe. You're trying to boost your band score, right? And often that boost doesn't come from learning tons of new vocabulary. It comes from not making a simple error, like, using American spelling instead of British.
Yeah.
We're really focusing on those score killers today.
Okay, let's unpack this then. We're going to start with what we're calling the preparation traps. So these are the crucial mistakes people make before the audio even starts playing.
Right. And probably the single biggest one, pitfall number 1, is just not using that time they give you to read the questions before the audio starts.
Yeah, I can picture it. Someone's sitting there, maybe a bit nervous, just waiting for the recording, thinking, okay, I'll just listen carefully and write it down. But they're already behind, aren't they? Because they don't know what they're listening for.
It's the difference between active listening and just passive hearing. The test gives you that short window, maybe 30 seconds, 45 seconds before each section. You absolutely have to see that time as gold, a critical resource.
So what does it actually mean to be like forensic about the questions in that short, high-pressure moment?
Well, it's kind of a 2-step thing. First, underline the key words in the question itself. The names, dates, specific terms that signal where in the audio the answer might be.
Okay.
But second, and this is maybe the real aha moment from the sources, you need to predict the kind of answer needed.
Ah, right.
Is it asking for a number, a name, a place? Maybe even is it singular or plural? If you go in expecting, say, a date, your brain is sort of primed to grab it, even if it's buried in a lot of other words.
That completely changes how you approach reading the questions. It's not just scanning. It's like setting a mental target. I'm listening for a cost related to the library construction.
Exactly. Prediction really drives your focus.
Okay, now let's talk about the next mistake, which happens kind of in the gaps. Pitfall 2.
Yeah.
Misusing that 30-second check time.
Yeah, this one's tricky because it plays on, human nature. A section ends, you breathe out, maybe feel a bit relieved. And a lot of students use those 30 seconds to just relax. Or maybe they try to remember the last answer they weren't sure about. But you can't afford to do that. You have to stay sharp.
So, okay, section 1 finishes. The voice says, you now have 30 seconds to check your answers. What should be my absolute priority then?
Your priority has to be getting ready for what's next. You need to use that time to pivot, basically. Yes, give your recent answers a quick scan, make sure they're readable, make basic sense.
Okay.
But then immediately shift your focus. Start reading the questions for the next section, section 2 in this case. Underline those keywords, predict those answer types. It's the same strategy as pitfall 1, just applied proactively.
I get the logic, but doesn't that feel a bit frantic, trying to check backwards and prep forwards all at once?
It can feel like that initially, yeah. But it's a discipline you have to build. The sources are pretty clear. Candidates who use that 30 seconds to prep for the next section are generally calmer and more accurate when that section's audio actually starts.
Because they're already oriented.
Exactly. You're essentially taking pressure from the future and dealing with it now in a more controlled way. You trade a moment's relaxation for being prepared. It's a good trade.
Use transition time as prep time.
Got it. Okay, let's move into the thick of it. The traps that happen while the audio is actually playing in real time.
Right. And this all comes down to that really unforgiving rule of the test. The recording plays once. That's it.
No rewind button.
No pause, nothing. Zero room for error in that moment.
Which brings us straight to pitfall 3. Just losing focus. It happens, right? You get tired, maybe stressed. And our sources pointed out something quite startling here. They said even a tiny distraction, like 5 seconds maybe, you hesitated on an answer, or someone coughed, you could miss 2 or 3 answers just like that because the audio just keeps rolling.
That's the brutal reality of it. If you lose your place, the test doesn't wait. So the mental skill you need here is, well, it's about acceptance and resilience, really. That sounds hard to do in the moment. If I know I've missed one, how do I actually force myself to just let it go? Do I literally cover it up on the paper?
Almost, yeah. You cannot dwell on that missed question. If you dwell, you guarantee you'll miss the next one too.
Right.
What the experts advise is physically move your pen tip immediately to the next question number in your booklet. Refocus all your listening attention right there. You could maybe put a quick X next to the one you missed. Think about guessing later, but tracking the live audio has to be priority number 1.
Okay.
Remember, you can always guess later. You can't rewind time.
That's a really practical technique for damage control. Prioritize what's possible right now.
Precisely. And speaking of prioritizing, let's hit pitfall 4.
Yeah. Trying to write way too much while you're listening.
Oh, yeah, I see this. People trying to write out the full, beautiful, grammatically perfect answer in the booklet while the speaker is still talking. And by the time they finish that sentence, the speaker's moved on 2 points already. They've missed it. Exactly. Because writing full sentences, especially with the more complex stuff in sections 3 and 4, it just demands too much brain power that should be going towards understanding what you're hearing.
Right.
You end up sacrificing listening accuracy for writing neatness, basically. And the audio will always outrun you.
So what's the actual technique here? How do you balance listening and getting the information down?
The standard advice, and it's good advice, is use short notes, keywords, abbreviations. Treat what you write during the listening as just a rough sketch, not the final piece.
Okay.
So instead of writing, the committee meeting is scheduled for the 23rd of October, you just jot down com meet 23 Octo, something like that. Use symbols, whatever works for you.
That gives you so much more breathing room. And the key thing here is the transfer time, isn't it? That safety net.
That is the absolute safety net. You have to remember, you get those 10 extra minutes at the very end. That time is specifically for transferring your messy notes and keywords neatly onto the official answer sheet. That's when you polish things up, check spelling, make sure it's complete. But during the listening, that time is purely for listening and sketching.
Listen first, sketch quickly, polish later. That's a great sequence. Okay, let's shift gears slightly. Now we're into the technical detail traps. These are the really frustrating ones where you might actually know the answer, you wrote it down, but you still lose the mark. This is where it gets really interesting.
Yeah, these are about the strict rules of the game. Pitfall 5 is super simple, but honestly devastating spelling mistakes. Specifically, the regional spelling differences.
I always kind of assumed, as long as the examiner gets what I mean, it's probably okay. But the sources seem really strict about the IELTS standard.
They are totally uncompromising on this. The rule is IELTS demands British spelling. You write the American spelling of a common word, it's marked wrong. Full stop. You lose the point.
Wow. It's not about being unclear, just convention.
Exactly.
So we need more than just the classic center, C-E-N-T-R-E versus center, C-E-N-T-E example. What other common ones trip people up?
Well, the U versus O is a big one. Like color, C-O-L-O-U-R, not color. Or favor with a U. Then there's the ISIS versus IS ending think, organized with an S in British English versus organized with a Z.
Okay.
And sometimes even things like how compound words are written or specific capitalization used in British contexts. Little things, but they all count.
That really means you need to do some targeted practice beforehand, doesn't it? Especially if you naturally use American English. You have to kind of reprogram your spelling habits.
You absolutely do. The fix here isn't about listening harder. It's about prep. Make a list of, say, the 50 most common British-American spelling differences and drill them before the test. Just eliminate that variable.
Good advice. Okay, and finally, pitfall number 6. Confusing plural nouns versus singular nouns. This feels like the definition of a tiny detail causing a big problem.
It's notorious because it often comes down to hearing or not hearing a single letter sound, that little S at the end. We saw an example in the sources where someone lost a mark just for writing book. When the speaker clearly said books, they were talking about multiple items.
Wow. So even if you understood the context perfectly, you knew they meant reading materials. If you missed that little plural S sound, the mark is just gone.
Gone. Exactly.
Right.
So this needs really focused listening. The solution is when you're listening for a noun to fill a gap, pay extra attention for that final S sound. Is it there or not?
Okay.
Often the grammar around the gap helps predict it too, like several reasons versus one reason. So you combine that grammar prediction with really sharp listening for the ending.
Okay, let's pull this all together then. A quick recap of the 6 pitfalls we've covered, just to make sure they stick. We started with those preparation traps. Number 1, not reading the questions properly beforehand.
Right, and not predicting the answer type.
And pitfall 2, misusing that crucial 30-second check time between sections, not using it to prep ahead.
Then we move into the real-time challenges. Pitfall 3 was losing focus, even for a few seconds, and missing multiple answers.
Yeah, the key there being move on immediately.
Exactly. And pitfall 4, the trap of writing way too much, full sentences, instead of just quick notes while listening.
And lastly, those critical technical details. Pitfall 5, stumbling errors, especially the British versus American English issue.
Remember color with a U.
And pitfall 6, getting tripped up by singular versus plural nouns. Listening for that say.
So if we synthesize all of this, the big message really is that these common mistakes, they're mostly procedural. They're not usually about not knowing enough English.
Right.
So avoiding these 6 specific traps isn't just a small tweak. It's pretty much a guaranteed way to see your score go up because you're fixing the structural weaknesses in how you take the test. You likely have the language skills already. It's about refining the strategy.
That leads us perfectly into our final provocative thought for you, the listener. We've spent this time talking about test day procedures, showing how scores are often lost, not because of language gaps, but because of simple mechanical errors. So this raises a really important question about your own practice routine. What structural error might you be making in your preparation that actually sets you up for failure before you even walk into the test room?
That's a great question.
Maybe, you never actually practice using that 10-minute transfer time in your mock tests. Or perhaps you don't force yourself to do that quick 30-second pivot drill between sections. Take a hard look at that preparation structure. The root cause of a score plateau might be hiding in your routine, not just in your language knowledge.
Focus on the procedure, nail the mechanics, and the points should follow. That's really the key takeaway today, I think.
Thanks for diving deep with us. We really hope these solutions help you approach the test with a much sharper, much more score-focused strategy.